con profondo dolore devo annunciare la morte del nostro Santo Padre Francesco.
Pope Francis passed away at the age of 88 on April the 21st at 7:35 a.m. in his Vatican residence, Domus Santa Marta. The world was speechless. Amid the shocking news, a fundamental question remained. What would happen with the celebrations of the Holy Year? It had occurred only once before in the history of the Church, during the Jubilee of 1700, that a pope had died during the Holy Year. It was then that Pope Innocent XII died and a new successor of Peter, Clement XI, was elected.
Io non potevo prendere quella decisione, devo anche...
I could not make that decision on my own. I must admit it.
Io ho dovuto chiedere il permesso agli incontri dei cardinali.
I had to ask the cardinals what we should do in these circumstances, both because everything had already been planned and because people had booked hotels, buses, everything related to the Jubilee organization was already done. But I must say that from this point of view, the cardinals gave me an immediate response.
Ma devo dire che da questo punto di vista i cardinali hanno dato immediata risposta.
Without hesitation, they decided that the Jubilee of Hope would continue.
Con alcuni aggiustamenti, ovviamente, perché...
With some adjustments, of course, because there were very important days ahead. The novenas, many masses, many meetings. But the holy doors remained open, and so the pilgrims who came still found what they had been expecting.
Hanno trovato riscontro a quello che era.
The atmosphere in the Vatican was indescribable. An overwhelming silence filled St. Peter's Square as the coffin bearing the Pope's body was being carried in procession into the Basilica. In the days following Pope Francis's death, thousands of faithful waited patiently in a queue for hours to pay tribute to the late Holy Father. A record number of 6,000 journalists from around the world registered at the Holy See Press Office, rushing to report on the historic events.
Tante ore ho passeggiato dentro la basilica vuota o davanti al corpo di Papa Francesco che era lì.
I spent many hours walking inside the empty basilica or in front of Pope Francis's body in his coffin, or because we were waiting for the election of the new pope. And from inside I could feel an incredible vibration of those in the square, waiting for Pope Francis's funeral or waiting for someone to appear at the window and announce the name of the new pope. Those were truly days of great intensity for me.
Prayers, masses, and preparations for the funeral were attended by over 250,000 people from 5 continents on April the 26th. Going went hand in hand with the celebrations of the Holy Year. Among them, one of the most crowded events of the entire Holy Year, the Jubilee of Adolescence.
I funerali hanno coinciso con la presenza a Roma di 200.000 adolescenti.
Funerals coincided with the presence of 200,000 teenagers in Rome. This had a dramatic impact on us in many ways. It is true, the young people were happy, but they were also sad about the Pope's death, and they participated in the funeral mass. However, we cannot forget that they were adolescents, and the program for these boys and girls had to be completely modified in the light of events.
Il programma per questi ragazzi, per queste ragazze, si è dovuto completamente modificare alla luce di questi eventi.
After over 15 days of mourning, the Church, on May the 7th, commenced its most mysterious and sacred ritual, the election of the new successor of Peter.
Poi dopo, certo, c'è stata la celebrazione del conclave.
Of course, there was a celebration of the conclave, which forced us to suspend the Jubilee of the world of work, since it absolutely could not take place during those days. The square could not be occupied. Each day, the work of the conclave continued. Smoke rose above the Sistine Chapel and crowds filled every corner of the city, so everything is understandable.
Tutto quello che si comprende.
After the conclave, lasting only 24 hours, at sunset on May the 8th, as thousands of faithful from every direction arrived in St. Peter's Square, it was then that a new pope was presented to the world.
Questa è la pace di Cristo risorto, una pace disarmata.
It is the peace of the risen Christ, a peace that is unarmed and disarming, humble and persevering, a peace that comes from God, the God who loves us all, unconditionally.
I am sure it will remain an essential part of his pontificate, but not in the sense of a sociological aspect or political aspects. He said the peace of the risen Lord. If there is not the peace of the Lord, man never will make peace.
Robert Prevost, an Augustinian friar and former prefect of the Dicastery for Bishops, was made a cardinal in 2023. Before his service in Rome, he had been Bishop of Chiclayo, Peru, and spent many years there as a missionary and pastor, long before leading the Augustinian order for 2 terms. Now he has become the 267th Pope, taking the name Leo XIV.
I asked him, why you took this name? And he said, well, I was in doubt. Augustine is an Augustinian, or Leo. Then I chose Leo. Why? He told me, in these moments, we need a man with a clear vision of the church.
Ho sentito subito dai suoi accenti questa continuità con Papa Francesco.
I immediately sensed from his tone a continuity with Pope Francis, a message that is a great appeal to all humanity to build peace. Many asked Jesus questions. They wanted him to overturn the established order. But Jesus pointed to another path, a much more difficult one, a path that calls for a personal response, to be about the Father's business. And Pope Leo truly embodies this spirit. He is a very calm and composed person. He takes his time, yet it's something you can sense from his gaze, from his words. His goal is clear, as is the path he is setting in motion.
Che prende i suoi tempi, ma si capisce dal suo sguardo, dalle sue parole, l'obiettivo è chiaro, è il percorso che sta mettendo in atto